Pigs, cowards, and feminism. You know something? Men really are pigs, and women really are cowards. This is what we would conclude if we were completely honest and we applied the same moral standards to both men and women. What is a pig? A pig is basically someone who doesn't care enough about what other people think of them. A pig is someone who is particularly selfish, rude, tactless, inconsiderate, impolite, impulsive, entitled, ungroomed, wild, insatiable, lustful, gluttonous, messy, dirty, smelly, disorganized, unsophisticated, annoying, and generally offensive. Women hate sluts, in part because a slut can be thought of as a kind of pig. Women hate rapists because rapists are dangerous criminals, but also because a rapist is a kind of pig. With this in mind, it's not all that surprising that Ashley Engel comes up with a concept like fart rape. Feminists hate men, especially white men, because they view them as pigs. And why do they do that? Because they judge men according to the same standards that they hold women to. They have a gynocentric approach, which produces a misandric result. They conclude that men are pigs, and this is true in a sense because men in general cannot live up to such a high feminine standard, any more than women in general can live up to a high masculine standard for courage. Think about the slut walk. The slut walk was really about pigs. The way it looks to me is that you have a bunch of women saying, "No, I'm not the pig. It's really men who are the pigs. I can act like a pig all that I want to, and that's fine, but that doesn't give men the right to act like a pig." Michael Sanguinetti was a pig because he said something very rude and offensive. And so the slut walk was born. One of the feminist messages of the slut walk is that it's not fair that men are allowed to be pigs, but women aren't. This fuss about manspreading is also about shaming men for being pigs and for not meeting women's self-imposed moral and aesthetic standards. Being a pig is, of course, a dangerous, destructive, and deadly sort of thing to be. But fear and hypersensitivity about being viewed as a pig can also be harmful. There's a really big difference between how images of women are presented to a female audience and how they're presented to a male audience. And feminists tend to gloss over this distinction. The female preference is a mixture of morals and aesthetics. Women want to look at good role models who are aesthetically pleasing to them, and women have a more tightly integrated moral and aesthetic sense. Men want to look at women who are aesthetically pleasing and sexually attractive to them. When women look at images of other women in magazines, they see what they want to see, and they want to see women and men who are as un-pig-like as possible. When men look at images of women, on the other hand, they want to indulge, and they don't need to be self-conscious in order to look at images of women who can't look back at them. So, through an activity that looks superficially similar, admiring images of women, two completely different things are happening. The women, and gay men, are actually distancing themselves from pigs, and the heterosexual men are really feeding their inner pig. The fear of being viewed as a pig is something which I believe most strongly influences women and gay men. This is not actually a beauty standard that is intended to attract attention from males. Rather, it's more of a moral standard and a feminine ideal that is intended to impress women. Males, on the other hand, are attracted mainly to signals that indicate youth and health and fitness and fertility in women. The vast majority of males are not attracted to these ultra-thin women with manicures, plastic surgery, plucked eyebrows, high-maintenance hairdos, etc. I see this ultra-thin ideal as a manifestation of women's competitive desire to distance themselves as far as possible away from being viewed as a pig. There's no real goal or ideal here. The only goal is to be less of a pig than other women. And so it's an arms race. And if you can accuse another woman of being a pig, then that might make you look like less of one by contrast. Towards this end, women want to display orderliness, self-control, their capacity for empathy and impression management, their consideration for others, and their hygiene. Becoming extremely thin is thus one way to prove to women that you're not a pig. Another way to do this would be to spend more time on your appearance in order to make your appearance look more artificial, clean, well-managed, time-consuming, ornate, and orderly. A woman who is labeled as fat is allegedly a pig because she presumably does not care enough about how other women view her, and she presumably indulges and helps herself to food that other women might want to eat. How rude, how inconsiderate, how offensive. I don't think that this is the male sexual desire that's causing women to have body image issues. Men in general are attracted to healthy women, not unhealthy women. I think that it's women themselves who impose this unhealthy, masochistic ideal on themselves. Men have many fetishes, but it's not men who fetishize the ultra-thin. It's women who do this, and they don't do it in order to be sexually attractive. They don't do it to feed the appetite of the male pigs. They do it for the moral superiority. Being a pig is a male vice and also an individualist vice. And cowardice is the corollary concept. A coward is someone who's too vulnerable to fear. They're dominated by fear. They're too risk-averse. They lack honor. They lack integrity. They're manipulative, and they're easy to manipulate. Cowardice is a female vice, and it's also a collectivist vice. However, sometimes, as a result of the competition to be the least cowardly, men also do stupid, violent, and destructive things. Imagine yourself in a society where all of the women are pigs and all of the men are cowards. How long do you think such a society would last? This would be a society of children who never learn boundaries, responsibility, or honor. So cowardice is feminine, and pigs are masculine. Cowardice is collectivist, and pigs are individualist. However, the pig and the coward are not opposites, even though they sometimes appear to be opposites. It is possible to be a cowardly pig. In fact, it's very easy to be a cowardly pig, at least over the short term. Over the long run, though, the cowardly pig is doomed, as their efforts at self-preservation will backfire. In order not to be a pig or a coward, it takes sacrifice. You must sacrifice short-term goals for long-term goals. And you must sacrifice individual goals for collective goals. And it really looks to me as though this is the society that feminists are pushing for. A society of cowardly pigs. Male virtue is male privilege, so why shouldn't men be cowards? Female virtue is oppression, so why shouldn't women be pigs? It's also possible to be as far away as can be from both a pig and a coward. And this is possible for both men and women, but it's very difficult to achieve this. It's possible to enjoy the benefits of not being a pig and not being a coward without becoming so extreme that you end up as destructive or self-destructive. Don't be a pig, but don't be anorexic either. Don't be a coward, but don't forget to pick your battles.